We are talking about the blind spot of every Christian. Now, if you've been paying attention and you haven't been living under a rock, the last year, the last couple of years, we have seen so many people, specifically pastors and people of influence in the Christian world. There's been moral failings, there's been screw ups, there have been blow ups. And, I don't think that this is anything new under the sun, right? Ecclesiastes teaches us that there's nothing new under the sun. So it's not like all of a sudden we're more immoral today than we have been in history. I really don't believe that. But I do think that the presence of social media has brought forth the reality that people suck. And that, unfortunately, that includes a lot of times it includes believers. Like, believers, they suck. And you and I have the potential to really drop the ball sometimes. And my heart is that you would not just have a fruitful ministry and where God has called you, but you would have longevity in it. Now, with scandals, with church scandals, this last year, there's a big one with Robert Morris and Gateway. And it really is heartbreaking when you think about all of the mess ups that pastors have. My prayer is always like, Lord, okay, teach me and help me to run the race, not just for a good time, not just to have impact right now, but to last, like to go my entire life. I want to be a grandpa. I want to be an ancient I was about to say Chinese. I'm Japanese. I want to be a samurai 90-year-old grandpa and just still have a lifelong legacy to leave behind. I want people to look at my life at the end of my days here and be like, man, Spencer really stood the test of time. He really was faithful to the end. That's what I want. And that's what I want for you, Exodus 20, verse 12, this is when God is giving his law to the people. And he says, honor your mother and your father, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Now, here's what God is saying is that it's not just his heart that your days are great, but it's his heart that your days are long. Like, this is what we see a lot of times in the world. We see a lot of people that have great days and they only last for a certain amount of time. I want great days that last long. I want longevity in my ministry. And so the fear is that we would go really hard and good for 5 years and 10 years, sometimes even 20 years. And then all of a sudden something happens or it catches up with us. And, when I'm thinking about Exodus 20:12, God has great land for all of us to occupy. God is calling you, he's calling me to go to where he is leading us. In Exodus 20, this is after the wilderness. This is when they're getting to the promised land and God is giving them the laws. When I step into the promised land of my life, when I'm stepping into the places that God has prepared for me, I want to be somebody that has developed discipline and faith in a relationship with God and those around me that is able to sustain me when I am in there. Not just I get to have a good time and then also my life blows up because I have no self-control and I have hidden sin and yada, yada, yada. No, I want my life to last. And I want my career in ministry. I want my impact. I want all the things that God is calling me to do to stand the test of time. I drive a Tesla, and you can have all your opinions on Teslas. They are superior vehicles. I don't even care what you have to say about Teslas, honestly. I love my Tesla. Model 3, it's the best. You might think that gas is cooler. Oh, wow, you drive an electric car. Well, you know what? I'm laughing at you when you're filling up your gas can at the gas station in the rain, and I'm just driving by on a charge that I got overnight, okay? And they're fast, and they're cool. Anyways, I'm not sponsored by Tesla. I just love my Tesla so much. But what's funny is, like, when I'm in my Tesla, it's like overkill with the amount of functions and gadgets and technology within it. And, specifically in driving, when I want a lane change, what's crazy is, like, it gives me so many indicators. Number one, I turn my turn signal on and an actual an actual monitor comes up of the side of my car that's a little bit behind me, and I see a live video feed of the road beside me. On top of that, I have a virtual picture on my dashboard of where my car is at and other cars that are around me. And so I have a literal camera. I have a projection on my desktop on my monitor in front of me that shows kind of like where the cars are at. I also have an indicator on the side of my car that flashes red if there's a car that I can't see beside me. And if I choose to be an idiot and ignore all of that, as I turn, you know what happens is my car beeps and alarms me that there's a car next to me. And you know what's crazy is when I'm going super fast, when I'm going 70, 80, maybe 90 miles per hour because I drive a Tesla. But when I'm on the freeway, there's so much going on that I am so thankful I have a lot of indicators around me to protect me from what? My blind spots. And you know what happens in life, especially as a Christian, especially as a leader, as you gain more influence, as you go higher in terms of where God has called you to be, the places that he's called you to occupy, the person that, and the influence and the relationships around you, as you continue in that, you know what's going to happen? Life comes faster and faster at you. The speed of your life begins to increase. And sometimes we have so much going on around us that it gets more and more difficult to notice and identify and see our blind spots. Here's the danger, is that it's not that you aren't effective. It's not that you don't love the Lord. It's not that you aren't chasing the right things, but sometimes it's that you aren't taking the time to check and identify what's in your blind spot. So I just want to talk about a couple different blind spots that you'll come to find, that I've also come to find. There's so many, right? There's so many different blind spots that you could probably identify for your life, but I'm just going to talk about two common ones that I think that we all deal with from time to time. The first one is this. It's refusal to be corrected or receive feedback. Okay? So a blind spot in our lives could be a refusal to be corrected or receive feedback. This is a danger that we all face when it comes to gaining a level of influence. Okay, I've noticed in the last few years that the level of influence that the Lord has given me has increased dramatically. And you know what's funny is this is just the world that we live in. I'm not making excuses for this kind of world. I'm just saying this is the world we live in, where I used to have 100 followers on Instagram. And if I posted something with 100 followers and it was stupid, if I posted an idiotic thing, you know what? It wouldn't get shared. It wouldn't get liked. It may get comments, but all the comments would be like, dude, you're an idiot. You're stupid. Why would you post this? Right? But life with 100,000 followers is dramatically different for me. Now, where if I were to post something super stupid or idiotic, or if I was a moron and I posted something dumb, instead of getting like hate and like, oh, that's stupid, you know what I know I would get is like some people would be like, wow, that's a crazy perspective. I've never thought of it that way. Whoa, you just blew my mind. Like, what an out of the box thought. Even if what I'm saying is complete garbage. Even if what I'm saying is completely stupid. When I preach, I know that every time I preach, I'm going to have people that come up to me and are like, that was the best message ever. Oh, Pastor Spencer, that message was awesome. It's like, it's so good. And don't get me wrong, guys. Like, I love it. I'm a words of affirmation person. So the more, the merrier for me. I love getting those words and I love the encouragement. I'm just saying the reality is, as you get more and more influence, when you get more and more authority, you know what's going to naturally happen is your life will begin to be surrounded by more and more flattery, which again, it's not inherently a bad thing, but you cannot allow flattery to insulate your life. Insulation is something that protects or shields you against other things. And sometimes what happens is we get surrounded by so much flattery that we choose to insulate ourselves with it. And then we just surround ourselves with people that say nice things about us, and people that think that we're the best things in the world, and people that think that we're so wise and so incredible and so anointed. And what happens is, when that begins to insulate your life, it becomes an echo chamber, and then you start to ignore criticism and feedback that is actually beneficial for your life. And I've seen it time and time again. I've seen it with a lot of different people where it's like, it's easy to surround yourself with just the positivity and just people that are blowing smoke. I mean, to be frank. But I am thankful, and this is how to stop yourself from having this blind spot. You need friends in your life. You need people in your life that can be honest with you and give you feedback where you don't get butthurt, where you actually listen to them. And I'm thankful that I have friends that don't flatter me, right? I'm so thankful. I have a group of like my closest friends. By the way, my closest friends, they love me. They believe in me. They pray for me. They champion me. They encourage me. They do all those things, right? And they're the realest people in the world. But you know what those friends also do? They roast me. You know what they also do? They don't allow my life to be an echo chamber. Like they are real with me, and you need friends that are willing to roast you and make and poke fun at you. Like if you don't have anybody in your life that can poke fun at you and make fun of you, and it's a laughing matter, and then I'm sorry, but you have insulated your life too much with flattery and butterflies and rainbows. Okay? Like on Instagram, I do a Q&A on Instagram every single week. And as I've gained more and more followers, I get more and more questions. And it's so funny because like I have all these people asking me serious questions, and they're like, wow, I would love your take on this. I would love your wisdom. I would love your insight. What a dating question, a question about marriage, a question about eschatology, a question about all of these things. And they're like, wow, Spencer, I really want to hear from you. And you know what my closest friends always post on that? They always like post stupid stuff and they make fun of me. Like I'll get a post from one of my closest friends every single time I do a Q&A, and all it says is, why are you gay? Why, like that's what they post. And then when I post like a response to a question that I'm actually proud of, people will be like, wow, what a great response. Oh man, that's awesome. That's so wise. And you know what my closest friends will say? They'll say, nice chat GPT response. They'll say like, wow, this is the worst take I've ever heard in my life. And it's funny, like they're all joking with me, honestly, but the principle is this, is that like I have friends that don't allow my life to be insulated with bobbleheads that just say yes to everything. You need good people to say no in your life. In 1 Kings chapter 12, Rehoboam was Solomon's son, and he just took over, and there came a point where the people were super disgruntled about something, and he had two forms of counsel. He had counsel from the elders, which was harder to understand and get behind, and it was a tougher pill to swallow. It benefited him less. And then there was the opinions and the counsel of his friends and flattery and people that just wanted to impress him and make him happy and make him enjoy it, blah, 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 whatever. And you know what opinions and counsel he listened to? The opinions and the counsel of flattery. And you know what happened? It divided the kingdom of Israel. It was not the right decision. The way that he chose the path of, oh yeah, no, all these people are awesome and they tell me great things rather than hard truths. You know what happened is it divided the kingdom of Israel. So here's a question. When is the last time you were corrected by your friends and you listened and you changed instead of defending and excusing? Now, right, this is a big deal, guys. Like, you need people in your life that will poke you on the chest and be like, hey, I have observed this about you, and I think that, you need to change this, or, hey, you're kind of snappy lately. Are you good? Like, hey, you got a short temper. Like, I think you need to, like, go on a vacation. We need people around us that give us that perspective. I was at the dentist this morning. Now, I don't like going to the dentist. You may like going to the dentist if you are a psychopath, but I'm a normal human, so I don't like it. I don't like sharp metal objects in my mouth, okay? I don't like them poking and prodding around. But why do I go to the dentist? Because I actually want to be a healthy person. That's why I go. So my dentist comes in and, there's like the classic, they clean and they do all the tinkering. And then the dentist comes in, he's looking at all my teeth and, they have all the terms like the molars, they have the number system for it, like M14, M12, E40, like, I don't know what they say. But anyways, my dentist was looking at my left molar and she was like, hey, just so you know, you got to keep an eye out for this specific area. There's not a cavity there, but it's prone to more plaque, and you just got to keep an eye on it. Make sure you're brushing that a little bit more intensely and just watch out for it because it could become something. Now, what if I looked at her with my mouth open all awkwardly? And what if I was like, you know what? I'm good. I think I know myself best. No. Actually, I was at the store the other day, and all of these people saw my smile, and they said I had a great smile. And my other friends tell me that I have great teeth and great oral hygiene. So you know what? Why don't you just keep your opinions to yourself? You don't know me. You don't know the way that I brush my teeth and floss. You don't know my schedule. You can't tell me that. That'd be moronic, right? I'd be a dummy for that because my dentist has knowledge and perspective that I don't have. She's in there with the mirror, with the tools, getting a close look at my teeth. So she sees a perspective that I don't see. She knows something that I don't know. And so if I was wise, I would take the counsel and I would change going forward, keeping an eye on that specific spot. And you know what we do sometimes is when people critique or, they come with correction or they come with a different perspective because they're seeing your life from a different point of view, is we go, nah, you don't know me that well. I know myself. And you're wrong. I'm right. Guys, I'm telling you, if that is your natural disposition, eventually it ain't going to turn out good for you. That's going to be a blind spot that you try and lane change and crash the car. You got to understand that criticism from friends and trusted individuals is something that you need to cling to and look for. Now, you don't take criticism from random Joe Schmo. I don't care what Sarah has to say on my Instagram comments about the way that I'm speaking or the way that I'm talking. I don't care because I don't know you and you don't know me. But my close friends, the people that I do life with, the people that I invite into my life, I will 100% always take their feedback and criticism. And I give them the green light to roast me and tell me when I'm messing up. And that's where you protect yourself from the blind spot of not being able to receive correction and feedback. Okay. The second is a lot of times, we substitute success for health. I don't know if you've noticed this, but many leaders and Christians, including myself, sometimes we will confuse fruitfulness with faithfulness. This is a warning of Matthew 7:22-23, when Jesus says, hey, by the way, at the end of the days, people will say, Lord, Lord, will I enter your kingdom? But Matthew 7:22-23, that's what I'm saying. That says, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of the Father who is in heaven. On that day, they will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do mighty works in your name? And I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. Now, this is crazy because I think a lot of times we think that because what we're doing is working, we are getting away with disobedience. And we got to be careful here because the fruit doesn't necessarily validate the means. Our obedience is the standard. Okay, just because we're successful in ministry, just because we're successful in what we're doing, it doesn't validate anything if we don't have a relationship with the Lord. And so what happens is sometimes, because we're not living based off of kingdom priority, we think that a successful ministry, a successful business, success in life equates somehow to the fact that we are doing well and God is proud and happy with us, when in reality, God cares about faithfulness and obedience. And I've seen this time and time again is people will forsake obedience to God for success and use that as some type of weird leverage and justification. Right? Because at the end of the day, if we want longevity in this, if we want longevity in what we're doing and where God is calling us to go, we have to understand that God gives us a priority in life to live by. Priority in life is this. Well, let me just give you the priority of my life, okay? The priority of my life is, number one, it is my wife, Adrian. She is the highest call of my life, and that will never change because it is biblical. Number two, we don't have kids yet, but when we have kids, it'll be my kids. And you might say, wait a second, Spencer, hold on. The kids is second to the wife? Yes. And if you're hearing this for the first time, I'm sorry, but the Bible calls us to prioritize our wives. Our wives are our first call, and then the family is the second, and the kids are. It is the best possible thing for you to do. I'm getting on a tangent here, I understand, but it's the best possible thing for you to prioritize your spouse over your kids. So many times I see people prioritize their kids over their spouse. Oh yeah, well no, we haven't gone on a date for 2 months. We haven't gone on a date for 6 months. We haven't gone on a date for a whole year. Why? Oh, well, I just can't leave the kids. Okay, well, that's not biblical. Okay? And I know that sounds blunt, but like if you want what's best for your kids, then prioritize your spouse. then have a healthy marriage. If you have a healthy marriage, how you parent your kids will be so fruitful and good and blessed by God. Why? Because it's kingdom priority. Well, I just can't, life has been busy and me and my husband were kind of out of sync because the kids have all these sports and there's so much schedule going on. Okay, well then cut it down. Then do less then have your kids commit to less so that you can spend more time with your spouse. I know this is not popular in the world, that in American culture that we live in. And it's everybody's going, and no. My priority is my spouse. It's Adrian. It will always be. No matter when we have a kid, it will always be Adrian, because I know that my family, my kids will be blessed more and it will benefit them more if I focus on my relationship with my spouse first, because where there's priority on kingdom priority, your house will be blessed. So it's my wife, then it'll be my kids, and then it's my ministry, and then it's church. And so here's a hot take. I hate to, I'm not going to say this is for sure, but if you're not able to live in kingdom priority, then you have kind of a level of a God complex on you, right? I mean, let's just think about this for a second. If you're saying things like, well, I haven't taken time off of ministry and church because there's so much going on and there's souls at stake, and I know that I haven't gone on a date with my wife in 6 months, but there's so much at stake with the ministry, and don't you realize that is kind of a God complex? That the church so badly needs you that you can't take a day off, even though God has called us to prioritize our spouse over our ministry. Here's a news flash for you. And this is a news flash for me, okay? God can do this without you. And God can do this without me. The business that you're running and the ministry that you're growing and the times did you know that God can do it without you? He doesn't need you. Okay? Because when we make these excuses, when we refuse to rest because there's too much going on, when we refuse to spend time with our family because there's so much at stake, we are essentially saying, God, you need me. And I know that you've called me to rest. I know that you've called me to prioritize my spouse and lead my family first, but you need a little bit more help, so I'm going to come help the ministry. That's a God complex. God doesn't need you. Hopefully that's liberating. God doesn't need me. God needs you to be obedient to the priority that he's given you on your life, right? God wants you to be obedient with the priority that he's given you, which is spouse, kids, ministry. And if we're faithful to that, then our lives will be better, the ministry will be healthier, and God will be happier. Okay, so let's just understand that for a second, that if you want longevity, it's not about success of your business and ministry and all that stuff. No. It's not. It's about faithfulness to what he's called you to do. That's what it is. So hopefully that's a little liberating to you. You just got to set the priority in your life. You have to set priority in your life, okay? The blind spot is not compensating and coping with, well, it's successful, so I must be good. No, wrong. Wrong, because how many, this is another tangent, but, we're just going on tangents today. I just wonder how many of us think that we're getting away with things with God. I just wonder, when you have a hidden sin or you have something that's unhealthy about your life and there haven't been any consequences yet and you haven't had any repercussions on your life yet, it's really easy to think that you're getting away with it. It's really easy to justify it and saying, well, if nothing's happened now, then God must be good with it. God must understand me. God must understand my tendency to this sin. And so because of that, and because the ministry is growing, because the business is growing, and I'm still struggling with this, then God must be understanding. At the end of the day, listen, you're not going to get away with anything. At the end of the days, we will take an account for everything of our life. Everything we've done in our life, we will take account of at the end of time before the Lord. So you don't get away with anything, first of all. Second of all, Could it be that Satan and his demons and the demonic would love for you to get so successful while still having a craving for a specific sin that is in the dark and not in the light, so that one day when you are of great influence and you are a great power and notoriety, then all of a sudden the enemy will decide to tear you down. The enemy will decide to take you off of the mountaintop. And then what happens is the repercussions of people knowing your sin now could be really small. The repercussions could be, you're taken off a platform, or, you have to go through the restoration process, whatever it is. But 20 years down the road, 25 years down the road, 30 years down the road, it could end a marriage. It could cause your kids to hate God and hate the church as a result. It could cause millions of people to fall away from the gospel because what they see represented isn't the true gospel. There could be so much more damage that we have to deal with. So at the end of the day, why do we have priority in our life? Why do we not prioritize success but faithfulness? Is because it is what matters for the long run, for longevity. Okay? So those are the two things. Have people that call you out in love. Have friends that can roast you. Have good people around you that can call out things in your life and you listen. And also set priority in your life so that you are prioritizing faithfulness and you're not making excuses for success and neglecting what God has called you to do. Those are the blind spots of every Christian, in my opinion. I think we all deal with it. We're also doing a new segment called TikTok Rot. Now, I'm excited for this segment. I'm having people submit TikToks, Reels, Facebook, whatever you want to call it, just videos of TikTok rot. Brain rot is a phrase that's just like, people just be posting anything out there these days. People be posting like I think it, so I'm going to post it, which is a crazy concept. So what we're going to start doing is we're going to start reacting and responding to different videos that come in, and I'm excited for. We have 2 videos today that we're going to look at together. It's going to be the best thing ever. The first video was sent to me. I only posted this yesterday, so I only have 2 videos today that we're going to respond to. Hopefully we'll respond to more later on. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to respond to these 2 videos that were sent to me. The first is this. Serena Williams was in a New York City hotel, and there was a decoration that had cotton in it. And I guess it really bothered her. And so what we're going to do is we are going to listen to this together. Serena Williams reacts to cotton plant decoration in New York City hotel.
All right, everyone. How do we feel about cotton as decoration? Personally, for me, it doesn't feel great. So actually, it feels like no polish remover cotton, natural.
Okay. So she is making this weird connection or parallel, correlation, insinuation, whatever you want to call it. She is making this pretty crazy correlation to cotton reference. I mean, is it a reference to slavery? Like, is that why it's making her so uncomfortable? It seems like she is insinuating that why would a hotel have cotton as a decoration? Because that makes her uncomfortable. Maybe, I don't know, because of the ties of slavery or something. Who knows? This is a crazy, and all the comments are going crazy in this. The comments are the best in these videos. This is the comment. One comment says this: as an Irishman, I feel racially abused when I go into a supermarket and they sell potatoes. This is so good. The second one is this: as a Mexican, I hate to see bags of ice at the store. Oh, this is so good. This is too good. And here's the irony, guys. There's so much irony in this post. Okay, the first one is this: is you're making a video that you're mad that cotton is a decoration, when in fact you probably wear clothes every day that are made from cotton that act as a form of decoration, right? Like this link between cotton and somehow endorsing and insinuating a tie to slavery is wild. Because let's not forget that cotton was not the only thing that was associated with people that were enslaved back in history. Okay, there were butlers, but you don't seem to be triggered or take issue that there are doormen at the hotel that let you in, or there are people that bring you food for room service at night. Like there were enslaved people. One of their jobs was to cook, and people would have slaves cook in their house, and yet you don't seem to take issue when you're eating at nice fancy restaurants that there's a chef in the back of the kitchen and there's waiters and waitresses that are bringing you out food. Like some of the other jobs was seamstresses and tailors, but you don't seem to take issue at the fact that you are wearing clothes that are tailor-made to your body. See, this is the problem of victim mentalities. It is a vicious, never-ending cycle of insanity. It just goes and goes in a circle, and this is somebody that is trying very, very, very hard to be a victim. And nowadays, I'm sorry. Actually, no, I'm not. I don't know why I apologized. In today's world, in the Western world, you gotta try to be a victim. You really do. Like Serena Williams, you are a decorated best female tennis player of all time. You have notoriety or a celebrity, and we're gonna take a cotton plant that's in a New York City hotel and act like how it bothers you and you're triggered by it. I mean, listen, I'm half Japanese. And in the city that I live, did you know that there is a Washington State Fair in the city that I live? And in World War II, you know what that fair was used for? You know what the fairgrounds was used for? Internment camps. Oh no. Now imagine I go to the fair and I grab a hot dog. I'm eating a hot dog. I'm eating a scone or an earthquake burger. And I'm just like, you know what? I cannot believe this makes me so uncomfortable being here because it used to be an internment camp. Like imagine me like riding on the roller coaster and just being like, wow, this is, what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about this roller coaster on land that used to be an internment camp as a half Japanese man? Makes me pretty uncomfortable. Like, what are we talking about? Okay, just eat the earthquake burger. Just ride the ride. It didn't affect you. It didn't affect me. I know nothing about that. She knows nothing about that, right? This is not PTSD. You don't know anything about it. Okay, this is crazy. Anyways, we can stay on this one, but we gotta go to the next one. Okay, so this is the next one. This is a good one too. This is crazy. So the caption of this one says, "Just married, and he officially took my last name." So we have, I guess, a girl and a guy that got married, and he took her last name instead of traditionally the woman taking the guy's last name. And let's see what this is.
Did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it?
Yes.
Did you do it?
I am officially Mr. Mueller.
Hey! 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 Oh! Hey! Oh!
Okay. Well, okay. They're just dancing. He took her last name and they're celebrating, I guess. And I could be wrong here. I could be wrong, but it just doesn't seem like this guy is that thrilled about this. I mean, like, if we watch the video and you look at his face, like, this seems like it was like her idea. And he was just like, you know what? It ain't worth the headache. Sure, I'll take your last name. You know, it's like he's like dancing, but he kind of has hesitation on his face. And, you know, it'd be natural for him to have hesitation on his face because this is just not the way that it's supposed to be. And yeah, Spencer, you can't say that. You can't say how marriage is supposed to be and how it's supposed to not to be. I mean, that's true, but like marriage is something that God created. Man didn't create marriage, God created marriage. And so therefore, when God creates something, he's allowed to put his boundaries on it. And he's allowed to say what it's supposed to be and what it's not supposed to be, right? 1 Corinthians 11:3 says, "But I want you to understand that the head of every man is Christ, the head of every wife is her husband, and the head of Christ is God." So male headship is something that you can't avoid in Scripture. You just can't. Men are meant to be the leaders of the household. They're meant to be people that wives submit to, that lead the vision of their home. Now, Obviously, they love their wife as Christ loved the church, and that's the way it ought to be. But I'm just saying, in terms of taking a last name, women should take the last name of the man because the man is the head of the household. Now, I love these comments too, because they're just so good. This comment from user, I don't like burner accounts, so let's just put that out there. But user 54545661 says this. This is so good. His comment says, I love seeing a lesbian couple happy. That is, I love seeing lesbian couples happy. That is just too good. This one says this, which one of you is the wife? And then finally, this one is odd. It says, king behavior. Yeah, except for every king that ever existed in the history of the world. Like, I'm confused by this. In my era, commented king behavior. In the history of mankind, when has a king ever behaved like this? This is not king behavior. If you don't see, this is crazy. If you don't go about what God created in the manner that he established, it will not be good for you. Right? And that's just, we're trying to define and redefine what marriage is and how it ought to be in the relationships. But at the end of the day, it's what God says it should be. And here's the irony of this. It's like, I feel like this is meant to be like a screw the patriarchy type of act, right? Like, well, it's the patriarchy that it's the male name. And so, you know what? Screw the patriarchy. And we're going to take the girl's name because girl power and feminine power. And I wonder if they really thought this through, because when you take the girl's last name, you're really just taking her dad's last name. Like you're still taking a male last name. I mean, we could do this strategy over and over and over again. And at the end of the day, it's always going to link up to a male last name, which is hilarious. But anyways, those are good. We're going to keep doing those. We're going to keep reacting to these videos because they're the best. And TikTok Raw is hilarious. And, I hope that you enjoyed episode 104. Again, if you haven't, make sure you share this with a friend. Leave a review. That's the best way that we can help this grow. Preaching truth in a world full of lies. As you guys know, our world is dark. It needs the truth. And so we will speak truth in the midst of lies, no matter the cost. We will always be dedicated to that. So thank you so much for listening and sharing and being involved with the Future Is Now family. We will see you next week on The Future Is Now.